When I inherited my grandpa's ranch, I never expected the nightmare that followed. I found out the neighboring HOA had built 5 luxury homes on my land without permission. Then, they had the audacity to demand $250,000 from me. Little did they know, I uncovered their secret water well on my property. Time for sweet revenge. Before I tell you the full story, drop a comment below if you were watching. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. Last summer, when my grandfather passed away, I was shocked to learn I had inherited his old ranch on the outskirts of Pinewood Valley. The property had been in our family for generations, but I hadn't been back since I was a kid. At the will reading, my cousins expected to get everything. But the lawyer read aloud, "The 200-acre ranch and all assets go to my grandson Daniel." My cousins stormed out, but I was stunned. I'm a computer programmer living in a tiny city apartment, not exactly a cowboy. 2 weeks later, I drove out to see what I'd inherited. The house needed work, but the land was breathtaking, rolling hills, a stream, and ancient oak trees. As I walked the southern edge, I noticed something strange. Fancy houses built right up to what should have been my fence line. I pulled out the property maps from Grandpa's files. According to official county records, about an acre of my land had become part of Pine Lake Estates, a gated community with a strict HOA. The next day at the county office, I discovered the HOA had quietly moved their fence line onto my grandfather's property over 10 years ago, when he was in his 80s and rarely visited. They'd built 5 luxury homes, partially on my land without permission. I scheduled a meeting with the HOA board. "Mr. Wilson, what can we do for you?" Karen Palmer, the HOA president, smiled tightly as I entered their clubhouse. I explained, "I'm the new owner of Wilson Ranch. According to my survey and county records, you built part of your community on my land." Karen's smile vanished. "That's impossible. Those property lines were established years ago." I laid out the evidence, maps, surveys, official records showing the 5 homes partially built on my property. The room went silent until Bob Matthews, a red-faced man in his 60s, scoffed, "Look, son, Pine Lake Estates is a respectable community. We don't appreciate false accusations." I stayed calm. "This isn't an accusation, it's a fact. Let's talk resolution." Karen snapped, "There's nothing to resolve. Those homeowners have deeds. Deeds to land that belonged to my grandfather and now belongs to me," I said. Karen leaned in. "We can make this difficult for you. Our HOA has excellent lawyers. If you push this, we'll tie you up in court for years." Then, softer, "Or we can offer you $25,000 to settle quietly." I almost laughed. The land alone was worth 10 times that, not counting the illegal construction. "Take it or leave it," she smirked. "A young man like you probably needs the cash." I stood up. "I'll be in touch." The next day, I got a certified letter from the HOA demanding $250,000 for unauthorized access to Pine Lake Estates and harassment of board members. They were building on my land and demanding money from me. Ridiculous. I could have hired a lawyer, but I had a better plan. First, I researched and found out their water system relied on a well located on my property. They'd been illegally pumping water for years. Second, the only access road to those 5 houses crossed through a corner of my land. Grandpa had verbally allowed it, but there was no written agreement. I hired surveyors to mark the correct property line, then built a fence right along it, cutting through the backyards of those 5 homes. Suddenly, their pools, gardens, and even a garage were blocked. The homeowners freaked out. The HOA called the police, but after seeing the surveys and county records, the officers said it was a civil matter. Karen showed up at my door with 2 men in suits. "Take down that fence immediately." I calmly replied, "I'm just securing my property line. One of the lawyers threatened to sue me for everything I had. I smiled and said, "Before you do, know that I filed papers with the county water authority about your illegal well. And tomorrow, I'm blocking the access road that crosses my property. Those 5 houses won't have a way in or out." Karen's face went pale. "You can't do that." "I can, and I will, unless we reach a fair agreement." 2 days later, we met again, with the full HOA board and affected homeowners. This time they were different. We agreed. The HOA would pay me fair market value for the land their homes were built on, $500,000. They'd also pay 10 years of back fees for the water usage, $150,000. In exchange, I'd grant proper easements for the road, and well with reasonable annual fees. The best part? Karen Palmer was forced to resign. After it came out, she knew about the property line issues for years. 1 month later, I received a check for $650,000. I used some of it to renovate Grandpa's old ranch house, where I now live full-time. I gave up programming and started a small organic farm. Sometimes I wave to my Pine Lake Estates neighbors when I ride my horse along the fence. Most of them are actually nice people, just misled by a power-hungry HOA board. The new HOA president even invited me to their summer barbecue last weekend. I brought homemade apple pie from fruit grown on my land, Grandpa's recipe. As we ate, I thought about how Grandpa would have handled this. I'm pretty sure he would have done exactly what I did, stand up for what's rightfully ours, but be fair. Justice doesn't always come from courts and lawyers. Sometimes it just takes someone willing to stand their ground, especially when that ground has been in your family for generations.